Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stemettes Reactions. We're going to start in just a minute of time. Just going to wait for some people to come through. Okay, everyone, I think we are ready to kick off. So, hi, everyone, again, happy Friday, and welcome to Stemettes Reactions Day 4. So today is the end of our first week. My name is Julia, and I will be hosting today's session for you. So this week and next, we'll be sharing new videos each day, Tuesday through Friday, for you to watch at your leisure over on our Zine. We welcome you to join us live at 4 p.m. to have a chat about what you've loved and what you've learned in the video you tuned into. We hope you've enjoyed your day at Stemettes Cinema, but if you missed out, you can access them via the link we'll share in the comments now. And this will pop up on the comments in just a second. There we go. It's going to come through in a second. So each day of reactions, video uploads will cover a different theme. So there's a bit of something for everyone. And today's theme is Wow Maths. So get ready to share with us as you also hear from our panel of awesome role models that we'll be discussing with. And again, thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy this session. So a couple of housekeeping things to go through. If you'd like to ask a question during the session, you are welcome to leave a comment. So just pop a comment under this live video and we will pick it up and I'll prompt it to our role models as we go. Note as well that this session is being recorded and your comments will be saved. So be mindful if you have your full name displayed. And another thing is, please be kind and respectful as you comment, as this is a safe space for us all to learn so that we can keep, so we can all learn from each other. And then last but not least, completing feedback at the end is really important to us so we can keep delivering sessions that serve you. So please do take some moments to do this at the end. So without further ado, we will move on to the main part of the session, which is a discussion on the topic, Wow Maths. And we'll hear from some of our Stemettes. So today we are speaking to two panelists, one of them being Adeswa and the other being Amy. So our panel will lead the conversation on the videos that we've seen today. And first up, we've got Adeswa, who is at university studying maths and finance and working to be a technology consultant. Hi, Adeswa.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you. We will speak to you in just a second. And so that's Adeswa with us here, everyone. And then we have Amy, who is our event Stemette. Hi, Amy.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, thanks. So Amy studied pharmacology, everyone, at university and is passionate about science communication and giving everyone equal opportunities to learn more about their future careers. So thank you both for joining me today. We're going to talk through all of the different videos that were available on the Zine. But before we do that, I'm just going to quickly talk about submissions. So for everyone who has sent submissions in, thank you so much. We can see that you've really given it a good go, making your own versions of the Phases of the Moon for the Katherine Johnson meal plan. You've all got some super impressive modeling skills, and you've channeled your inner Katherine Johnson, a really creative version there with tomatoes. You are super creative. You're a super creative bunch. It's great to see you using your initiative here, everyone. A top effort all around. Panel, what do we think of the submissions?
I love the tomato one so much.
It's so good,
really
right?
Good. It looks really good. And the Oreo one, very tasty.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a bit hungry looking at these. I think, yeah, they're absolutely amazing. I can't believe, I think, is that digestive biscuits on the top, in the middle at the top?
Crackers or something. It's making me really want to snack. That's what it's
doing.
I
can't believe we managed to shape them like exactly right. That's really cool.
No, they are awesome. So thank you everyone that submitted those. So without further ado, I think we can kick off our panel discussion around all of these different videos that were available for people to watch. So again, today we are talking about maths. This is the topic of the day. We've had lots of sessions around maths where we selected like some of our favorite ones actually to discuss today. So first things first, we're going to talk about the junior session, which was the junior activity with Katherine Johnson. So for this video, you guys all joined Anne-Marie Head Stemettes to learn more about the incredibly inspiring Katherine Johnson, a mathematician who contributed to the NASA space programs and provided critical calculations for the 1969 Apollo 11 flight to the moon, as well as for the mission to Mars. Without Katherine, these missions may not have been a success. And you learned about the size of our solar system, as well as the phases of the moon, and how to go at making your own solar system with sweets, as well as modeling the phases of the moon using biscuits, as we just saw. So to talk about this first video about Katherine Johnson, why do you think, panelists, why do you think it's important to model the phases of the moon when planning a mission?
So I guess you've got to take a lot into consideration if you're planning a mission to the moon. So thinking about the phases of the moon, you're going to want to know what that's going to be like when you're actually traveling through. So what light will you have? How's that going to affect everything? Will it affect things like gravitational pull? So how fast will you go?
Wow. Do you know what? I've asked you that question, but I've never actually thought of it myself. The stakes are definitely quite high.
100%. I feel like going to the moon, you must know everything about the moon, you know, even everything about the ship you're going in, let alone the moon. So, yeah, I feel like they must have studied so hard to really like grasp all the knowledge and everything. And especially that earlier on, like we know not nearly everything, but a lot more now than they did back then. Mm-hmm. The knowledge they must have had is crazy.
Crazy. And then if you think about all the automation that's around these days, and that was all kind of done, you know, with these big computers and all sort of handwritten as well. It must have been in, like, I can't even imagine, to be honest. Would you guys want to go to the moon?
I got a question like this yesterday. I want to say yes, but my fear of just floating away in space, I don't know if I can let that one go. I know it's very unlikely, but I just feel like, you know, there's always that one person. I feel like that one person would be me somehow, but you never know. If I got the opportunity, yeah, I'll take that.
And you, Amy?
I'm sort of the same as Adesua. So I suppose like going to the moon, obviously, I mean, that's an amazing opportunity and I'd love that. But I don't know how I'd cope being cooped up for so long to actually get there in the first place. That would be something I would struggle with. So if it could be like a speed satellite or speed mission to the moon, that would be mint.
Yeah, if it was like London, New York, that would be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, I'm a huge sci-fi fan, so I would love to go to the moon. But I feel like I agree with you, Amy. I feel like it would get quite lonely. Yeah, seeing all these movies that portray like just these yeah, the people that go to the moon and just like basically live on their own for like years. I would not be down for that. That's for sure. And then my other question before we move on to the next video was, what factors would Catherine need to have taken into consideration when doing the calculations for the missions? What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like there's an unlimited amount of things like she had to take into consideration, especially since back then, like the women were named as computers. So she literally had to work as a computer. I can't even imagine how she did it. The amount of like in my head, I'm just thinking, okay, the trajectory and like just the distance to the moon, but there's just so much more to it. Too many things to an unlimited amount to count. Yeah,
I agree. And it's like you miss one thing and it's all over.
Yes. Yeah, literally.
Not make a mistake. Amy, do you have more insight for us about this?
I mean, I can't say I've ever planned a mission to the moon myself, but I completely agree. There's just so much to take into consideration, and like one little thing could change compared to what you've predicted. Even in the factors that you've predicted, if you've calculated the phases of the moon wrong, it's going to make things very, very, very complicated. I guess you've got to work quite fast as well for the people on the ground. They've got to be able to get that information sorted really, really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Do you both like the movie Hidden Figures? Is that a good recommendation?
Great recommendation. Everyone needs to watch it ASAP. If you haven't watched it, watch it tonight.
So for anyone that's watched our Catherine Johnson meal plan, you should actually check out Hidden Figures. It's an amazing movie that actually tells the story of Catherine and her colleagues. Let's move on to the next video, which is the STEM session entitled Where Can Maths Take Me? And that was done, that ran with Lily Troy during Outbooks, and I think actually she joined us again for Easter Explore. So Lily Troy works at WeWork, and she took you through the endless opportunities available to you with a career in maths. You broke down your initial visions of a mathematician and learned that it is really exciting. It's a really exciting field to be part of. You also learned about career options and some top tips to help you if you're considering a maths career. So that was what the session was all about, and basically kind of applying maths in the workplace, in an industry that might not necessarily look like it's a maths role or maths industry in general. And actually, yeah, I think this is a good question for you, Adeswa. So so before watching the video, actually for you, it's not before watching the video. Probably for you, it's before going to university and studying maths. What were your initial thoughts on what a career in maths would be like?
So I thought it was literally, as she said in the video, office job. You stay in your little cubicle, you have a calculator next to you, and you're just typing away all day, probably doing like accounting, or you're probably an accountant. I really thought that was literally maths, but coming to university and then attending all of these online Stemettes events, I'm realizing there's so much more to maths than what they portray to us back like when we were younger. A lot more.
Do you know what you want to do, or kind of what sort of area do you want to focus on or direct yourself in?
I want to do more consulting, because there is even a lot of maths in consulting. There's even like so many sections in consulting. So technology consulting, there's mathematical modeling consulting. There are so many different things, and they're all to do with maths. So probably towards that, maybe some more entrepreneurship. There's just too much to do with maths. It's literally unlimited. So who knows where I'll end up.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do, actually. And I mean, I also wouldn't be surprised if, that's another thing is like, there are so many different careers that you might want to actually have a go at different ones throughout your career. And maybe you'll start with something and then be like, actually, I want to try this. And I think that's the nice thing about maths, right? Is that sort of you can carry it on to different things. Another question is, when do you guys use maths most in everyday life? And Amy, maybe you start that one off.
So I use maths a lot more than I thought. Well, obviously I knew I'd use maths a lot in my life, but I remember sitting in maths lessons in like year 10, asking my maths teacher, like, what is the point? Because I really hated it. But actually, I remember them saying there's so much that you will actually use it for. I remember them saying, oh, you might have to build a boat. I've never had to build a boat in my life, but I still use maths all the time. So even things like when I'm planning events, working out how many days I need between things, working out what date's going to be best, it's all sort of using maths without really thinking about it. It's like indirect use. I would say for me, yeah, that's a lot of what I do is using it in those event planning situations.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I know what you're talking about. And Adeswa, how about you?
I was literally thinking, there was a tweet that circled around a while back, and it said, I always ask myself, when have I ever used Pythagoras theorem in real life? And I was just thinking, that's actually true. I've never actually used it in real life situations, but there is maths everywhere you go. Like in the Explore video, one of the people said that there's even maths in medicine, which you don't really think about, but it's like a big part of it, like the statistics and producing new medicines from the past statistics. Everything in our day-to-day lives literally include maths that we wouldn't even think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maths cross over to everything, right? I'm even thinking of, like, as an artist myself, like I use maths a lot, whether it's to, like, when I'm painting something and being like, okay, how big does this have to be? Or when I'm actually building something, like I'm literally looking at this plinth that I built back in uni, and I still have it. And it's like, I've got it in my room now, and it's like a proper piece of furniture. So yeah, maths is amazing. Maths might not be fun in school, but it's got a lot to do with like how you see it, where you use it, and how you're taught it as well. I think we have time for one more question around this video. And I think, Adeswa, you might have a nice answer for that. What advice would you now give to someone who is considering a career in maths?
I would say do it from my point of view. I know that from GCSE, maths doesn't seem as fun, and at A-level it gets a bit more exciting, but university is very, very interesting. I absolutely loved calculus in first year, then statistics in second year. It just gets more and more interesting because you actually see it in real life situations and how like businesses could actually use it. Whereas in like GCSE, C1, C2, C3, C4, I didn't see the point of any of that differentiation, integration. It's like, what is this really useful? But when you see it actually applied, it's very, very much interesting. So everyone take maths. It is the subject to take.
Nice. Loving that. Love it. Amy, do you have any advice for someone considering a career in maths?
I would say sort of the same thing. Is if you're like me and you're back in year 11 hating maths, just don't try and close your doors on it. Like, there's so much you can go into, and even by sort of thinking about it more, whether that's what you want to do, try and find out what people do. So like if you watch that video, you can see that there's so much that you can do with that career. So I've got a friend who now works as a data scientist at Lego after doing maths at uni. And it's a really, really, really cool job that you would never think in school, oh, I'm going to go do a really cool job at Lego. You'd think, oh, I've got to study maths. Like, I'm going to build a boat. Like what my teacher said.
And all that. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so cool. I'm so jealous of that. Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I think you're so right. I think it's like there are so many jobs that involve maths, and it's like most of the time actually maths is not in the job title, which I find, well, I don't find it funny. I think it's just interesting. It's interesting that it's not there, but I also get it because maths is so broad, right? And it touches everything. Otherwise we'd have to have maths in all the job titles. But honestly, there you can do so much. That's so true. And yeah, it crosses over to so many different subjects. So last but not least, let's discuss the career clinic video, which was confidence and building resilience with Jacinda. Now, in this Explore replay, you joined Jacinda Fahey, head of program and projects at G Research, for an inspiring talk on building resilience and confidence. Now, Jacinda talked you through the concepts of learning optimism, challenging yourself, and calming your feelings of stress and anxiety. I'm sure you left this session feeling ready to take on the world. So I think I've actually heard this talk myself live. Jacinda delivered it at one of the Stemettes events that we did with G Research before the pandemic. And Jacinda's an amazing role model. And I wanted to, I wanted to see what you girls thought of the video. And also ask you, do you ever struggle with confidence? Whoever wants to take that first.
I thought it was really inspiring, and I think confidence is something that everyone struggles with, whether you really notice it or not. So even if it's a case of, for some people, going into a room of people that they've never met before, that's quite overwhelming, and you don't notice it until you go in there and you're actually feeling really nervous beforehand. But it's all about building confidence and putting yourself in a situation where you're a little bit out of your comfort zone in order to build that resilience in the first place to improve your confidence.
Mm-hmm. Well, how about you, Adeswa? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, like Amy said, confidence is definitely something that I think a lot of nearly everyone struggles with. But she did give a quite good advice on that and resilience. And she was saying that just having a positive mindset about quite a lot of things would definitely help, like reframing the way you say things. So it's more like, oh, I can do this, not I can't, or like just having a positive outlook on everything. Yeah, I think definitely good advice, tips there that she dropped in the chat, which was really nice.
Yeah, I think it's so nice to hear that as well from a really successful woman that's got such a senior role at a big sort of data company as well. So talking about, Amy, you just mentioned the comfort zone. And so I'm going to throw this question out to you both. How often do you push yourself out of your comfort zone? And what do you do to push yourself out of it?
So for me, I used to be really, really shy back in school, and I really hated talking to people. I hated talking in front of people. And so, yeah, and I think a lot of people have been in the past, and then they just suddenly become like all right with doing it. But like I noticed that and thought, well, I'm going to really struggle in certain situations. Like at uni, I had to give group presentations all the time. So I started doing like little things to push myself out of my comfort zone. So things like speaking to people in lower year groups about stuff that I was doing at school, and then starting mentoring people. That got me used to actually talking to people who weren't just my friends or my family. And then after that, I just built it up, and now I'm here talking, and I'm don't even think my pulse is raised. So hopefully.
Oh my God, I really feel your pain, you know, like I was the same in school. And it's just, I think it's like, sometimes these things happen naturally. You just kind of naturally end up taking on a few like more things that you're not familiar with. And I think it then gets easier and easier as you go, because it's kind of like, oh, you don't even notice, but that wasn't actually that bad. Ades, what were your thoughts on this?
Yes, I'm so similar to that. I feel like before I used to think, oh, I really don't want to do like public speaking or like just the bigger events. But then, you know, and after some time you keep telling yourself, okay, I know I don't want to do this, therefore I should do this, you know? So in that way, you kind of keep doing things that you're like, oh, I really don't want to do this. Let me just do it. And then you just self-development, you know, over time, just get better and better. And in the end, like Amy said, like I can do this more freely than I would like 10 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also that's why I think you did a lot of like speaking gigs with us, right? With Stemettes. I think you've been taking a lot of opportunities, because even since I've been with Stemettes, you've been doing it the whole time. And I was wondering if that kind of helped you out as well.
Yeah, that definitely helped me out. Like I spoke at I think it was the 4th-year anniversary. That may have been my first one. And from then, it was just like more and more events. But that was definitely something out of my comfort zone at first. But Stemettes is just so like calm, and I had a lot of food, so I was so relaxed. It was all a good vibe. So after time, I became more relaxed with it, and now I can just do this with ease. Yeah,
that's awesome. And yeah, like, well done for you to take to be, to even like volunteer to take on these opportunities, because it's not easy to say, okay, cool, like let me do this, let me be a panelist for Stemettes, let me help you guys out. So I think that's already a good step forward. But yeah, just for anyone watching, if anyone's interested in this, we do offer some opportunities to do some lightning talks or join us as panelists and things like that. So you can kind of ease yourself into it with us, and then build up your resilience and your confidence as you go. And then you can be our panelist, just like Adeswa is right now, and then talk bigger and bigger events each time. We are coming to the end, and I think the last question I wanted to throw out to you is, what tips would you give to our audience for building confidence and resilience personally? Do you have anything that you would want to share?
I think it's all about taking yourself out of that comfort zone. I think Adeswa said a really good thing there about if you feel like it's outside your comfort zone, or you feel like you don't want to do it, then you probably should do it to help yourself develop. So I think if you're feeling like that and you sort of want to do something, but you feel like you can't, I think it's a case of trying your best to take those steps to feel like you can do it. So for me, that's literally a case of throwing myself in the deep end and being like, okay, well, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to sign up for it and do it, and then I have no choice but to. But that might not work for everyone. So if it's talking to someone about wanting to do it and talking through your feelings, then if that works for you, then that's great.
Awesome. Thank you. And Adeswa, what about you?
I really like that phrase, fake it till you make it. I live by that. Yeah, just keep acting like you can do it, and eventually, you can convince other people. So in the end, you'll convince yourself. So fake it till you make it, to be honest. That's my advice.
I love that. And I think the more you start doing that, the more you also notice that a lot of people are doing the same. And a lot of people are, just using that method, because I don't think it's not everyone's passion to be talking to lots of people. It's not everyone's passion to be the public figure or public speaker, right? But yeah, it's definitely something that you can build up like that, and you just need to kind of pretend like you know what you're doing, to be honest.
Literally.
And then then you'll just get used to it, and that'll be your script in your head. So yeah. Well, we've now reached the end of our 4th day, and the end of our first week of Stemettes Reactions. Thank you to our amazing panel for sharing their knowledge. So thank you, Amy. Thanks, Adeswa, for joining me. It was lovely to speak to you both. And everyone that's watched us or is rewatching us, thank you for attending. And we hope you found it fun, useful, and have learned more about how we can explore science and especially maths today. So a couple of things before we go. Please remember to complete the feedback to let us know how you found the session. It's very, very important to us, and we appreciate your honesty. So we're going to pop the link in the chat for you now. And the link is bit.ly/Stemettes React. And you've got it on the screen as well. We'll have more sessions for you throughout next week at 4 p.m. British summertime. So be sure to join those too. And as you access the zine for our daily uploads of new videos, we're encouraging you to send in anything you create from the sessions you watch. And if you want to do that, then please send it to us on the address team@stemetsfutures.org. So that's team@stemetsfutures.org, so we can share them during the daily discussions and see what you've been up to. We will see anyone returning on Tuesday at 4 p.m. for creative engineering, which sounds super, super fun. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Friday. And again, thanks, Amy and Adeswa, for being here with me today.
Thank you.
Awesome.